Welcome to This Explainer. Have you ever had one of those days where you just feel, well, really, really sad? Like a big, heavy weight is just sitting right on your chest and it just won't budge. We all get those big feelings. Maybe it's a tough day at school, or things are just rough with a friend. Today, we're diving into a fascinating biblical text, Psalm 77, to see exactly how we can handle those massive feelings, tracking a pretty incredible journey from being super upset to finding real hope. Sometimes when everything feels like it's going wrong, you might find yourself asking a really tough question. What do you do when you feel like he just isn't listening? It's a huge question, right? And honestly, the writer of Psalm 77 felt the exact same way. They felt totally overwhelmed, sad, and like they were completely alone in the dark. It's something a lot of us can totally relate to. Let's look at exactly what they did about it. We're going to start by looking at this deep distress, where the writer is just crying out for help. The text paints this vivid picture. It says, "I cried out to God for help. When I was in distress, I sought the Lord." Imagine someone who just can't get to sleep. Have you ever been so worried that you just toss and turn all night long? The writer says they had untiring hands stretched out, groaning, totally unable to find any comfort. This wasn't just a bad 5 minutes. This was a really, really tough, dark night. And when we're in that deep valley of sadness, asking the hard questions becomes almost impossible to stop. Our minds just race. Your brain just won't turn off. That's exactly what happened to the writer's spirit in the middle of the night. They started asking these big, honestly kind of scary questions. First up, will he reject forever? Just imagine lying there, awake, staring at the ceiling, wondering if he's ever going to show his favor again. You just wonder if you're completely on your own. Then comes another rapid-fire question in the text. Has his unfailing love vanished forever? When you're that sad, it can totally feel like his promise has just failed for all time. You know in your head that he loves you, but in your heart, man, the darkness makes it feel like that love has just poof, vanished. Then they ask, has he forgotten to be merciful? Has he in anger withheld his compassion? Okay, I want to pause right here, because this is super important. It is absolutely okay to ask these hard questions. Even the biggest heroes in the Bible asked them when they were hurting. He isn't scared of your big questions or your big feelings. Not at all. But watch what happens next. It's amazing. We hit this massive turning point in the biblical text. Think of it kind of like a split screen. On one side, we have all that distress and those tough questions we just talked about. But on the other side, the writer makes a hard pivot. They stop looking inward at their own sadness, and they make a choice to look up at him, focusing entirely on his mighty miracles. This brings us to a really brave choice, choosing to remember him. This is where things change. Right in the middle of that dark, scary night, the writer decides to shift their focus. They say, "I will consider all your works and meditate on all your mighty deeds." Instead of letting the worries swirl around, they intentionally appeal to the years when the Most High stretched out his right hand. They're literally using their memory as a tool to fight the sadness. And what exactly do they remember? His mighty miracles and his awesome power. Remembering his epic power completely changes the game. When we think about his mighty miracles, our own problems suddenly don't seem quite so impossible anymore. The text joyfully declares, "What God is as great as our God? You are the God who performs miracles." He displays his unmatched, awesome power among all the peoples of the earth. He's not weak, he isn't hiding, and he definitely hasn't disappeared. The text reminds us that with his mighty arm, he redeemed his people. Let's make sure we understand that word, redeemed. To be redeemed basically means to be rescued or saved. Just like he used his mighty arm to rescue the descendants of Jacob and Joseph from danger, he completely saved his people from slavery, proving not just his incredible strength, but his deep, deep compassion. Now let's talk about thunder, lightning, and the waters, because nature literally responds to him. The biblical text gets so action-packed right here. Imagine you're standing in the middle of the most epic storm ever. Step 1, the waters saw him and writhed. They actually shook. Step 2, the clouds poured down rain. Step 3, the heavens resounded with thunder. Step 4, his lightning lit up the entire world. Picture the booming thunder, the swirling whirlwind, and these flashing arrows of lightning. The very depths of the ocean convulse and shake in his presence. Now that is some mind-blowing power. The earth trembled and quaked. Your path led through the sea. Do you know what famous event this is talking about? It's describing the epic parting of the Red Sea. When the Israelites were trapped, he made a dry path right through the mighty waters to save them. And I love this detail. The text says, his way was through the mighty waters, though your footprints were not seen. Sometimes he's working massive miracles to rescue us, even when we can't see his footprints at all. But after all that wild power, we see how he leads his flock with such gentle care. This is honestly the most beautiful part. After showing us this wild, earth-shaking, storm-crashing power, the biblical text doesn't leave us scared. It ends with a really gentle reminder. The last verse says, "You led your people like a flock by the hand of Moses and Aaron." Think about that for a second. The exact same God who commands the lightning and parts the sea is also like a kind shepherd. He gently leads his sheep to safe places, guiding and protecting his people through absolutely any storm. It's unstoppable power wrapped in the most gentle, loving care. So here's a question for you to take away today. When you face your own dark nights, what mighty deeds of his are you going to remember? Will you remember the parting of the Red Sea? Will you remember how he leads his flock? I hope this explainer helps you realize that even when you're sad, you can always find hope by looking away from your worries and looking at his unfailing power. He's powerful enough to part the seas and gentle enough to hold you close. Keep exploring, keep asking those big questions, and I'll catch you next time.